Hello everyone and welcome back to the Real Starfighter, and today we're going to continue our lessons using the Dicta Boelcke as a guide to improve our X-Wing miniatures gameplay. We're on rule number 5, and rule number 5 is the most important rule in my opinion because this is the rule I use to win games, and that is, in any form of attack, it is essential to assail your enemy from behind, the vulnerable 6 o'clock. Now, I sign off every single video with the saying, check your 6. And this is why I say it every video, because if you don't, this is how you die and die quickly. So for the X-Wing rule, there is some addition to it, because this part right here is what I think of all the time when I play the X-Wing miniatures game. So this is the rule that rings in my head more often than not is, in any form of attack, it is essential to assail your enemy from behind. Arc dodging is the best offense and defense. Arc dodging is a skill that you must master incredibly quickly to be successful in this game. What is arc dodging? Arc dodging is getting out of the opponent's firing arc and denying them a shot. Now, I also said in another video that the attack dice are better than the defense dice on naturally hitting, on naturally getting what they're supposed to do. And whoever rolls the most red dice usually wins the game. That's just kind of how it rolls out. And with the whole tabletop simulator being out and being our main form of playing X-Wing in the current times, there's been some mechanics where you can actually look up the statistics on the dice that you roll on the table. And usually whenever we pull that up at the end of the game, whoever rolled more red dice was the winner. They were the winner of the game. They were the one who walked away with the W and was happy at the end of the day. So that got me thinking about how do you constantly make that happen? And the best way to do that is arc dodging, because it's the best offense and defense. That is a very Sun Tzu way of thinking of combat, and it is why I think this is the most important rule. So let's look at some scenarios really quick and talk about the offense and defense of arc dodging. So first off, it's completely offensive because you are trying to put yourself in a position to get shots. It is incredibly defensive because you are trying to deny your opponent from getting shots. Your best defensive roll is when you don't have to roll your green dice. That's my opinion. The best rounds I have on defense is when I never have to touch my green dice. If I never have to touch my green dice on a round, then that to me is my best defensive round, if I never have to touch my green dice. So let's take a look at Sunterfell. Sunterfell here, he's one of my favorite arc dodgers in the game. Puts himself in a position where he's right here at the end of the turn. He's going nose to nose with his X-Wing here. The very obvious thing to do is to go here, to barrel roll out of the way and try to get shots this way. But I know what you're saying. The rule says to go from behind. That is very true. The rule is to go from behind. In a dogfight, say in World War I, World War II, or in squadrons, that would be the easiest because you just get to follow them. But in X-Wing, the sides are also very vulnerable as well, because it's not a moving game. It's snapshots of combat. There's snapshots, like this is a snapshot of a fraction of a second. Every time a ship moves, it's just a snapshot of that battle. So coming in from the side is is also as good as coming in from behind. It's also why I like to play Y-wings with dorsal turret to kind of eliminate that ability to arc dodge. So if they're in a position where they have to try an arc dodge and they try to go to a side where normally there wouldn't be a gun, but I have my dorsal turret pointed in that direction, then the arc dodging is completely eliminated. So that's why I like flying ships with multiple arcs. So that way arc dodging and getting behind me is more difficult, and getting a clean shot is even harder. So that way it forces my opponent to think more defensively. But let's just say we're going in a normal dogfight situation where it's just front arc ships only, no special arcs, no turrets. This is what you would do. You would go from a point where there is no firing arc. So here on an X-Wing, there are 3 points on the ship that don't have firing arcs, and that is the side and the back. And that's where you want to do your shots from, because you know they will not be shooting at you. You can use all your tokens for offensive purposes, and you're rolling more red dice than you are green dice in a game. Let's talk also about setting up yourself for good shots, but also arc dodging to deny shots. Turfanier is one of my favorite pilots in the game because of his ability to shoot and then arc dodge. So what I would do here in this situation is I would leave Turfanier here, get him his focus, shoot into Red Squadron, go full out on offense, and then arc dodge by barrel rolling out of the way. Again, arc dodging is very powerful. It gives you all offense, and you don't have to play defensively at all. Now, will your opponent have to roll defensively? Yes. However, like I said 1,000 times, and you'll never hear me stop saying it, your red dice are always better than your green dice. Your red dice are more reliable than your green dice. So the more red dice you roll, the better chances you have of winning the game. So put yourself always in that position. Well, what if you are in a position like over here with Grand Inquisitor and this X-Wing? What if you're in a position where you want to get a shot, but it would put you in danger? It would put you in a place where you would still get shot. The best thing to do is just simply get out of the way. If you boost and don't take any shots, but you're not shooting either, that's perfectly fine. You don't need to always constantly be shooting at something. It's preferred that you always constantly be shooting at something. But if you know you cannot eliminate the target to save yourself, do not try to take the hits. Do not try to rely on your green dice. Control what you can control. Get out of the way and just try to come back around and get into a better position to get a better arc dodge that you can shoot at. It's okay to arc dodge and not shoot at anything. It's perfectly fine. It's all about survivability. If you do not take damage, they cannot get half points, they cannot kill your ships. It's all about denying them damage and making sure you can have the damage at maximum. The other thing to do to easily get behind someone 6 o'clock is, and we've talked about 1,000 times, is simply just doing K-turns. Finding K-turns you can do, finding sloops you can do, even Talon rolls you can do. That just puts you in a position where you're able to get behind your enemy and put a lot of dice into them. It's all about volume of dice. What position can you put yourself into to maximize your damage and minimize damage to you? How do you output more red and not more green? That is always what you want to do. Offense is always more fun because it's more energetic. It's what you're there to do. You're not there to defend. There's no list in X-Wing. There's no real list that wins purely on defense. There's defensive things that help you out, but again, they're really hard to pull off because that's the way the game is designed. The game is designed to be pure offense, and the defense is there to help you, but is not a way to win. The best defense is to push through on okay offense and punch in those great offensive moments. Again, when you sacrifice your ability to arc dodge, or when you sacrifice your action to arc dodge, you might be losing a token, you might be losing action economy. But again, that's fine because you're throwing out red dice, and that's the goal of the game. Throw out the red dice, take out your opponent. Anyway, that's all I want to talk about today in terms of the X-Wing Miniatures game and adapting the Dicta Boelcke. Remember, always get the guy from your 6 o'clock, from the sides. Find the blind spots. Hit them from where there are no guns that can shoot at you. Well, thanks for watching. If this video helps you out, make sure you share it with a friend. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. This place crawls, and remember to always check your 6.